The novel The Prince and the Pauper, Chapter 20, The Prince and the Hermit. Now we already know the story up to this place. The prince escapes from the peasant's house when John Canty and Hugo appear, come to that place to catch him. So today we are going to discuss what happens to the prince after this escape. You see the chapter title, The Prince and the Hermit. Hermit is a man, holy man. Holy man lives in the forest, a religious life. A religious life. He has no contact with the outside world, right? Finally, the prince happens to be with this hermit in the forest, right? You can see this picture. The prince appears before the hermit, right? Let's read. The high hedge hid him from the house now, so he let out all of his forces, and sped toward a wood. Wood means forest. In the distance, he never looked back until he had almost gained the shelter of the forest. Finally, the prince escapes from the peasant's house, and he runs towards a wood. Wood means a forest. He never looked back until he almost gained. Gain means taken the shelter of the forest. Covering. Shelter of the forest means the forest covering. Now he is in the forest for his protection. He never looked back until he had almost gained the shelter of the forest. Then he turned and descried. Described means noticed. So he saw two figures, two persons. Actually, these two persons are John Canty and Hugo. They are following the prince in the distance. That was sufficient. He did not wait to scan them. He did not wait to check them critically, seriously, meticulously, because he knows they are them, Canty and Hugo, and never abated, but hurried on and never abated, slow down. Abated means slow down his pace, his running, till he was far within the twilight depth of the wood. Twilight depths of the wood. Twilight, you know, semi-darkness. He runs into the semi-darkness of the wood. You can imagine the picture. Then he stopped being persuaded that he was now tolerably safe. Now the prince feels that he is now safe. He listened intently, but the stillness was profound and solemn, awful, even depressing to the spirits. Now, this is how the prince feels the jungle or forest. There was stillness, silence, deep silence. Profound means deep, and serious, solemn. Even awful, very dangerous silence, depressing, uh, breaking down the spirits, the courage, the strength of the heart. Now that is prince's situation. Now he is in jungle forest. Darkness is on the way. Before darkness, he must find a safe place. He must find a safe place for the night. Now he keeps walking through the forest. Walking through the forest. Go to page 157. 157, right? Second paragraph. I am going to the main. Second paragraph. 157, second paragraph. Now this situation takes place. The situation takes place. The situation takes place when the prince is at the hermit's hut. The situation takes place when the prince is at hermit's hut. And how glad he was. And how glad he was when at last he caught the glimmer of a light. Glimmer. A dim light, shining of a light. Glimmer means shining of a light. Now in the forest, dark forest, the prince happens to see a speck of light. It means human. Light and fire means human. He approached it warily. He warily means tiredly, stopping often to look about him and listen. He is very careful now because Canty and Hugo may be around him. It came from unglazed window, open window. There is no glass. Unglazed means no glass. In a shabby little, opening a little hut, he heard a voice now. There is a man, human, felt a disposition. He had a thought. Disposition means thought, idea. The prince suddenly feels an idea to run and hide, but change his mind at once, for this voice was praying. It was a prayer. A man is praying, evidently, clearly, in the heart. A man is praying to God. He glided to one of the window. He glided to the one window of the hut, raised himself on tiptoe. On tiptoe means on fingertips. He stood because the prince is not tall enough to see through the window. He stole a glance with him, Stole a glance means he saw. He had a look into the hut. The room was small. It was a small room. Floor was natural earth, soiled earth. No carpets, no tiles, no cement, nothing. Natural earth, beaten hard by use. In a corner was a bed of rushes. In one of the corners of the room, hut, there are rushes, bed of rushes, and ragged blanket or two, torn blankets or two. Near it was a pile, a cup, basin, two or three pots and pans. There was a short bench and three-legged stool. Three-legged stool. On the hearth remains of a faggot fire. There is a hearth with fire burning firewoods, smoldering, smoking, smoldering. Smoldering means smoking. Before a shrine, there is a little shrine room lighted by a single candle. There is a lighted candle. There was an aged man kneeling down and on knees. Knelt means there was an aged old man. Aged means old. There is an old man kneeling down before this shrine, praying to God. And on the old wooden box by this old man, there is a wood box. At his side lay an open book, and also open book. This could be the Bible. And also human skull. This is not associated with holy people. What is the use of a human skull? Now you can see this picture, human skull. This is the hermit. This is the prince. Right? Human skull, symbol of fear, symbol of awe, danger. The man was of large bony frame. His hair and whiskers were very long and snowy white. He was clothed in a robe sheepskin which reached from his neck to heels. You can see his dress, hermit's dress. Now what will happen to our friend? Right. A holy hermit, the prince exclaims, shouts to himself. Now I am indeed fortunate. Now the prince feels that he is safe now. He is safe now. Why? Holy man. He may have no harm upon this boy. The prince is confident now. He is safe from all harms. The hermit rose from his knees. The king knocked. He knocked on the door. A deep voice responded, enter. The hermit gives permission. Come in. But leave sin behind. But don't come in with your sinful life. Leave it. Come as a clean person. Because the ground whereon thou shalt stand is holy. This ground, this place is a holy place. Don't spoil it with your sins. This is a clean place. There are no sins. No sinners are allowed here. The king entered, paused. The hermit turned a pair of gleaming, unrestful eyes upon him and said, Who art thou? Who are you? The hermit questions the little prince with a gleaming eyes, shining eyes, unrestful, no peace in those eyes, very inquisitive, curious eyes. Who art thou? Who are you? I am the king. The prince proudly answers. He is the king by now because his father is dead. But there is a fake king in the palace, that is Tom. Then hermit says, welcome, king, cried the hermit. I am the king, came the answer with placid, very clear simplicity. Simplicity means simpleness. Welcome, king, cried the hermit with enthusiasm. Then bustling about with feverish activity. Bustling. Bustling means walking, moving here and there with feverish, quick activity, and constantly saying, often saying, welcome, welcome. Now the hermit walks here and there in the hut, speaking these words, welcome, welcome. He arranged his bench, seated the king on it. Now the little king or the prince, our hero, is now cordially welcomed by the hermit. He is seated now on a small bench. Then he says, welcome, many have sought sanctuary here. Hermit says, many have sought, look for. Sanctuary means protection, safety here. But they were not worthy. Those people were not very important, worthy, valuable, and were turned away. Therefore, I turned them away, rejected. But this time, a king who cast his crown away, crown is symbolic of power, royalty, despises, rejects, or hates the vain splendors, empty beauties, useless beauties of his office, and now clothed his body in rags, now dressed in ragged clothes. That person is very important. And to devote his life to sacrifice, devote means to sacrifice his life to holiness and the mortification of the flesh. Mortification of the flesh means it's some sort of meditation to give suffering to your body, to give suffering and pain to your body, and to get used to it, to develop toleration, mental strength, control, mental control, and so on. It's a meditation, mortification of the flesh, giving pain to your body. This person is worthy. He is welcome. Now this hermit thinks the prince has come to his hut in order to live a holy life. Actually, this is not true. The prince comes there to have some protection against his enemies. This misunderstanding makes prince's life miserable again. Here shall he abide. Abide means live. Here that person will live his days till death comes. Until death comes, that person has to live. Now this is how the hermit welcomes the prince. The king hastened to interrupt and explain, but the hermit paid no attention to him, did not even hear him apparently, but went right on with his talk. Now the prince wants to interrupt, trouble, stop, and explain to the hermit why he came there. But hermit, this man, holy man, he does not listen to the prince, no attention. Hmm. Apparently, clearly, he did not even hear what the prince said, what the prince says. Now, the prince is going to be in trouble again. Then the hermit keeps on describing the holy life. This is the nature of holy life. The prince has to live. He says, and thou shalt be at peace here. You will live a peaceful life here. Thou shalt pray here. You will pray to God here. Thou shalt study the book. You will study the Bible, book, holy book. Thou shalt meditate upon the follies and delusions, foolishness, delusions, mysteries, deceptions of this world, and upon the sublimities uh, of the world, suffering of the world to come. Thou shalt feed upon crust and herbs. You will have only simple food. Crust and herbs means some rough, simple uh, food. And scourge thy body. You will punish your body. Beat your body with whips daily. I will beat your body daily with the whip. I will thrash you. That is mortification of the flesh. To purify the soul, to clean your soul. Uh, your spirit. Soul means to clean your spirit. Soul. Thou shalt wear a hair shirt. Your dress will be a hair shirt. Hair shirt means animal skin. You will wear an animal skin next to thy skin. Thou shalt drink water only. Your drink is only water. No cola or no Fanta or no soda, nothing. Only water. This is simple life, natural life. And thou shalt be at peace, but you will be peaceful. Yes, wholly, completely peaceful, at peace. Whoso comes to seek thee, if anyone comes to look for you, take you back, he shall go his way again baffled. He will never have you. He will go baffled, confused, hopeless. He shall not find thee. He shall not molest thee. He will not find you. He will not trouble you. Molest means trouble. Now, this is the plan for the prince. The hermit has. The prince has no escape again. He is in the clutches of another madman, the hermit. The hermit is going to keep the prince as a trainer, another holy man under his control. Now, what will happen to the prince? We'll see later. Okay, write down up to this moment the comment. The prince with the hermit. The prince and the hermit. Write down. Chapter 20 depicts Chapter 20 depicts another adventure, that that the prince experiences in his journey through the pauper's world, the pauper's world. Pauper's world. This time, the prince falls into the hands of a weird weird, a weird hermit, hands of a weird hermit living in the forest. Full stop. After his escape, after his escape from the peasant's hut or house, from the peasant's house, the prince meets this holy hermit in the forest. In the forest. The hermit welcomes the prince. The hermit welcomes the prince warmly, 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 and misunderstands that the prince has come to live a spiritual life, a spiritual life with him, a spiritual life with him. The prince enters the hermit's hut enters the hermit's hut in order to protect his life, in order to protect his life, protect his life from Canty and Hugo. Canty and Hugo. The hermit explains to the prince. The hermit explains to the prince the nature of austere, A-U-S-T-E-R, very difficult. The nature of austere holy life, A-U-S-T-E-R-E, austere holy life that the prince has to live with the hermit. Hermit. The prince understands that his life is not safe, but has fallen into the hands of another wicked man. Another wicked man. The hermit mentions that he is not human, he is not wholly human, W-H-O-L-L-Y. He is not wholly human, but but an archangel. Look at this word, archangel. A-R-C-H-A-N-G-E-L, archangel. Archangel. Half human, half divine. But the prince does not believe his words. Okay, go back to the book. The old man still pacing back and forth. The old man hermit is still pacing. Pacing means walking back and forth. Ceased to speak. Cease means stopped speaking aloud. Began to mutter. Mutter means to speak something unclearly. The king seized this opportunity to state his case. The king took this, it means took this chance to mention his situation, and he did it with an eloquence, uh, with great clarity and skill. Eloquence means uh, speaking ability, inspired by uneasiness and apprehension, created by uneasiness, peaceful, peacelessness, and apprehension. Apprehension means fear. Now, the prince explains in a fearful tone his situation. But the hermit still muttering. Hermit does not listen. He is speaking to himself. Approached the king and said impressively, with some admiring tone, "Shh, I will tell you a secret. The hermit has a secret for the prince." What is the secret? He bent down to impart it. Now, this is how the hermit tells the secret to the little prince. He bent down to tell it. Impart means tell it. In listening attitude, because this is a secret he does not want, therefore he's checking everything. After a moment or two, he went on tiptoe. He walked here and there again on tiptoe on his fingertips of the feet. Window opening, put his head out. He looked out, peered around, looked around in the gloaming. Gloaming means darkness. He is checking if anyone is listening to his secret. Then came tiptoeing back again, put his face close down to the king and whispered, "I am an archangel. Hey boy, I am not human. Oh, I am not divine. I am mixture of both. I am human and divine. Archangel. I am God's messenger." Archangel means I go to heaven and take God's words and return to earth. I am an archangel. The king started violently. He started violent. Said to himself, "Oh, would God I were with the outlaws again." Now he says, "Oh my God, I am with the outlaws, tramps again, for law. Now I am the prisoner of a madman. Now this time I am prisoner of a madman." The prince understands. This hermit is not sane. He is insane, mad. His apprehensions were heightened. Apprehension means fears. The king's apprehensions were heightened, now increased. And they showed plainly in his face. In a low, excited voice, the hermit continued. Now, hermit goes on explaining how he became an archangel. Archangel. There's awe in your face because you have fear in your face. Awe means fear. None may be in this atmosphere and not be thus affected. For it is the very atmosphere of heaven. You know, this hut is like a heaven. Everyone is frightened by this atmosphere. Everyone is affected. I go hither, I go thither. Thither means there. It means heaven. I go to heaven and return. This is a lie. The little boy does not believe these lies. I go to heaven and return in the twinkling of an eye. Before you close your eye and open it, I'll go to heaven and return with the God's message. I was made an archangel on this very spot. You know, on this very spot, this very place, angels from heaven came here and they made me an archangel 5 years ago by angels sent from heaven to confer that awful dignity, that serious honor. Dignity means honor upon me. Angels came here and made me an archangel. Their presence filled this place with intolerable brightness. You see, this place was full of brightness when the archangels were here. They knelt to me. Angels knelt down me, respected me, honored me, on kneeling before me. Yes, they knelt to me. They knelt down before me. For I was greater than they, because I am higher than angels. Now, this is the nature of madman. This time the prince finds. You know, actually this hermit is not archangel. This hermit is a priest, retired priest. Now he lives in the jungle because King Henry chased all the Catholic priests into forest and grabbed their churches. Therefore, this archangel or this hermit is an enemy of King Henry. Now let's read that part. Right? Now the prince is in the hands of his father's enemy. This is too dangerous. The prince does not know it. But the hermit explains, yes, I am an archangel, a mere archangel, a simple archangel. That might have been a pope, but I might have been a pope. Who is pope? The highest position of the Christian clergy, Catholic clergy. Pope, the head priest of all priests who lives in Vatican. It's very true. My fate was to be a pope, but King Henry stopped me, troubled me, took it from me. I was told it from heaven in dream 20 years ago. Yes, I was to be a pope, and I should have been a pope, for heavens had said it. But the king, now here the king means Henry. Henry dissolved my religious houses. Religious house means church. King Henry abolished my church. Now poor, obscure, obscure means hiding, unfriended monk, a monk without any friend, friendless monk. Cast homeless, now I have no home upon the world. Robbed of my mighty dignity. King took my honors from me. Now, this is the situation. Here he began to mumble again and beat his forehead in futile rage. With his fist now and then articulating, speaking a venomous curse, very dangerous blame words on the king, and now in a pathetic. Wherefore I am nothing but an archangel. Because of king, I am simple archangel, but I had to be a pope. King took from me that position. I should have been a pope. Yes. Now, what do you think of Princess situation now. It's going to be very, very serious, very, very dangerous for the prince. The hermit still does not know the prince is his enemy's son. The prince is his enemy's son. He later comes to know it. I will go to that part. Go to page 161. 161. Yes. Right. The hermit questions the prince to know him much better. This place. Thou art the king. You are the king? Yes, was the response drowsily uttered. Now, prince is very sleepy. After taking dinner, the hermit gives him some dinner because he still does not know this little boy is his enemy's son. Now, after this conversation, he comes to know it. Thou art the king? Yes. What king? Which king? Of England. I am king of England. Of England? Then Henry is gone. Then Henry is dead. You are the king now. Yes. Alack, oh my God, it's so. I am his son. I am Henry's son. Now, this revelation, these words are going to change Prince's life forever. The holy hermit forgets his holiness, God's words. He forgets his mercy and sympathy, hatred, anger, jealousy, sense of revenge, sense of avenging, all come upon this man. Now, this is his change. A black frown settled down upon the hermit's face and he clenched his bony hands. He clenched, this is clenched, his bony hands with vindictive energy, great energy. He stood few moments, breathing fast and swallowing repeatedly. Now he says, does know it. Do you know? It was he means your father. It was your father who turned us out into the world, who chased us into the world, homeless world, houseless world. It was your father who made our lives miserable. But the little prince does not hear these words because he is fast asleep. There was no response. The old man bent down and scanned the boy's reposeful face, happy face. Reposeful means happy face. And listened to his placid breathing, listened to his clear breathing. He sleeps soundly. The prince is asleep. And frown vanished away. His frown, that rough look vanished away and gave place to an expression of evil satisfaction now. Evil happiness. Some evil happiness comes to the hermit's face. Right? A smile flitted across the dreaming boy's features. The hermit muttered, so his heart is happy, huh? He sleeps happily. Heart is happy. He sleeps in his dream. He turned away. He went stealthily about the place. He went here and there, stealthily, silently, secretly about the place, seeking here and there for something. He is looking for something. Now the prince is sleeping. Prince does not know what is happening in the hermit's mind. Now hermit is not anymore hermit. He is a dangerous man now. Looking for something. What is this something? Now and then halt in and listen now and then, jerk in his head, shaking his head around, and cast in a quick glance, showing a quick look toward the bed. He also looks at the bed. The prince is sleeping, and always muttering, always speaking, always mumbling to himself. At last he found what seemed to be what he wants. He seemed to want. What is it? A rusty old butcher's knife. This is what he wants. Butcher knife. Butcher means animal killer, hunter. Now he finds the big knife. What is this knife for? To cut the princess' neck. Now Hermit is going to kill this little boy to take revenge from King Henry, to avenge his anger and jealousy by killing this little boy. The prince does not know anything about this, but he has to pay a great price for his father's sinful, wicked ruling. And a whetstone, sharpening stone. Then he crept to his place by the fire, sat himself down, and began to whet the knife. Began to whet. Whet means sharpen the knife. Softly on the stone, still muttering, still mumbling, still ejaculating, laughing. This is evil satisfaction. Now, hermit's satisfaction, evil satisfaction. Why? He's going to kill this man, little boy, to take revenge from his father. Now he's sharpening. He's sharpening. He's sharpening the knife. Speaking to himself. Go to page 163. 163, second paragraph. He took no notice of the flight of time. Now Hermit does not even feel passing time, but work tranquilly on, peacefully on sharpening knife, entertaining himself with his thoughts. What is his thought? What are his thoughts? Killing, taking revenge, which broke out occasionally in articulate speech. It was his father. It was Prince's father who did it all. I am but an archangel. Today I am an archangel because of him. I should be a pope. I should have been a pope, but that wicked king took everything from me. Right? Now, this is the reason for hermits' revengeful thoughts. Actually, King Henry is not also a good man. He is also a wicked man. This hermit has become a wicked person because of King Henry's wickedness. Now, all this little son, Henry's little son, has to account for it, pay for it. His father's sins, wickedness. The prince is innocent. You know, this hermit ties the prince's hands and feet. Now he is sharpening the knife. You can see the picture, how he makes his knife ready to kill the hermit, little boy. After that, he ties prince's hands and feet like this. You can read it in the next part of the story. Now prince is sleeping. He does not know anything. He does not even feel that the hermit is going to kill him. His hands are bound tightly like this. Okay. Write down next part of your comment. Write down. The prince's situation with the hermit becomes more dangerous than the prince thinks. Than the prince thinks. This hermit is actually This hermit is actually a former priest, P-R-I-E-S-T, a former priest who has been chased away from his church, who has been chased away from his church by King Henry. King Henry. And therefore, he is an enemy of King Henry. Enemy of King Henry. The prince is innocent and he does not know anything. He does not know anything about what had happened between his father and the hermit. When the hermit comes to know, that the little boy is his enemy's son, he changes into a wicked man, driven by anger, hatred, and revengeful thoughts. Anger, hatred, and revengeful thoughts. King Henry is also a wicked ruler, and the hermits rage, R-A-G, rage and anger against the king is reasonable. But now the little prince, the innocent little prince, has to pay for it, has to pay for it. Full stop. The hermit decides to kill the little prince to avenge, A-V-A-N-G, satisfy, to avenge his anger and hatred against King Henry. The hermit binds, B-I-N-D-S, binds the hand and feet of the little prince, hand and feet of the sleeping little prince, and makes him ready for the sacrifice. Sacrifice. Okay, in our next discussion, we'll say the prince's fate. Will he die or live? Will hermit be able to kill him or not? We'll read it in our next discussion.